Her name is Pastor Sonia Spence Walker. An explosive expose that is all over social media at the moment and growing. A woman killed herself recently. She could not heal from the sexual abuse. She was groomed by a female pastor whose name is Sonia Spence Walker. I have not watched all of the young woman's testimony because the language that she used is a little bit incendiary and I could not keep up with it. But she recently took her own life after chronicling more than 20 years of a lesbian relationship that she had with a woman who was markedly older than her. The woman groomed her just as this girl was on the cusp of legality. The young woman was in the church, and for 20 years, she was the lover of a female pastor who is married to a man.
Hi. For those who do not know me, my name is Eternity, and this is an introduction to my playlist, The True Confessions of a Teenage Mistress. So when I was 18, I was in a sexual affair with a church leader of my home church.
Her entire story is chronicled in something called Journey with Eternity. And the one who has passed away now, she took her own life. Her name is Tarika James. There are predators in the church. There are wicked people in the church. They perpetrate to be one thing, and then they live like another in the background. And then there's sycophants, those who are headed to hell themselves on footsteps that are flying into darkness, the sympathizers of sin, the blind, dumb, and deaf, mute Christians who can only see the false persona being put in front of them will always be the first one to raise their voices and to point an accusing finger at a victim and say, but why don't you take responsibility? This young woman was trying to take responsibility. She was having therapy and it was not helping her. And that is because I, Celestial, have always told you that sexual abuse, sexual molestation, and graphic abuse such as rape and sodomy, but also preparing children ahead of time to be your lover by pretending to be an authority figure in their life, a protective voice in their life, an adult who styles themselves as a safe place for a child. And when the child has gotten used to their presence and the child now trusts them, then they slowly begin to introduce sexual language, sexual innuendo, sexual touches until they finally make that one big move on a young person.
I am at an age now, 40 to be exact, that I realize the abusive and exploitative nature of that relationship.
Grooming them and telling them that God is not against this. This young woman chronicled that for 20 years she was sitting in the church as the mistress of a woman who would stand on the pulpit whenever her husband gave her an opportunity to preach, and she would speak against same-sex relations and then climb down off the pulpit and take this young one into her bed. Journey with Eternity on YouTube. And her entire story is entitled The Confessions, True Confessions of a Teenage Mistress. This young woman could not handle the fact that she had been used and abandoned. When this woman was finished with her after a 20-year relationship, she simply dumped the person and moved on to something else, simply went back to her straight life. Now she's done with bisexuality because maybe there was heat. Maybe people were beginning to notice, or maybe she was simply done, as the way is with narcissists. Either way, this young woman could not handle being dumped like that. She tried to go to therapy. She tried to do all the self-affirmations. She tried to do everything. But sexuality is a gate that when it is broken, the Bible says, do not awaken love before the time. That means don't touch what belongs in a man-woman committed, covenanted marriage relationship before the time. It can be explosive. It can be dangerous. It can be deadly. And all the therapy in the world could not save this soul. She tried to heal because her therapist told her that if you say what happened to you, Tarika, it will bring you peace. You will be able to explain your side of the story. But when she brought it out in this murderous climate, the internet did its finest and began to tell her, you were an adult, you were 18 years old. This is how you know that the world is full of people who practice hebephilia. Hebephilia is when you are actually attracted to someone who has just stepped out of the lower teens. No longer 12, 13, 10, 11, 12, which is pure pedophilia. No. People who are into hebephilia wait for these little children on the cusp of adulthood. Like predators. They're waiting for them to get that legal ID card so they can step to them and start saying, do you want to have a relationship with me? I know I'm 35, but I can show you the world. I can take you to Dubai. I can take you to Oman. I can take you to the Maldives. I can run you by the Caymans and show you a good time. I've spoken of it here for years. The young people don't have means. They want expensive phones. They want expensive shoes. They want expensive bags. They want to make Instagrams that look like they're living the life. And their brains are also not fully formed. This woman was a church person. She took advantage and she preyed on a young person. But the internet was now telling the young person, you're an adult. You must have wanted it. And this woman was not able to handle, because this was probably something that her therapist did not prepare her for. She was not prepared for the unmerciful hearts of the wicked, because it was Christians who were telling her this primarily. It was the people of the internet, but it was people who claimed that they know Jesus Christ. She only recently lost her life. It hasn't even been 3 weeks, and her story is all over social media. It deserves to be highlighted. Women can be predators too.